Everyone believed the killer was dead. The town celebrated. The nightmare was finally over. But the truth? The truth had only just begun. For 3 long years, a masked predator haunted Havenbrook. Young women vanished without a trace. And every time he left behind the same note: "You can't bury what isn't dead." When police cornered Richard Galloway, a wealthy businessman with powerful friends, it ended in fire. His car crashed, exploded. His charred body confirmed by dental records. The mayor called him a monster put to rest. The police chief promised the town was safe again. And everyone moved on. Everyone except Allison Rayburn. She was never listed as a victim, never mentioned in the reports. But years earlier, she had survived him. One night in the woods, Richard attacked. She escaped with scars carved into her arms, and a truth no one wanted to hear. She told the police what she saw. They dismissed her. They said she was mistaken, because Richard was untouchable. She was a nobody, and when he died, her story died with him, until the night he came back. 5 years later, Allison closed the diner where she worked. The streets were empty, the night silent, and then she saw him, leaning against a black car, smiling. Richard Galloway. Her blood froze. Her scars burned. He wasn't dead. He had disappeared. She ran to the police. The chief laughed. The mayor's office called her unstable. Her co-workers whispered she was obsessed. Once again, silenced. But Allison wasn't a child anymore. And this time she would not back down. She followed him, photographed him, tracked his money. And what she uncovered was worse than she imagined. Richard had faked his death, with the help of the very people sworn to protect the town. Then one night, an envelope slid under her door. Inside, a flash drive. Video of Richard meeting with the police chief. And a final note: "He's coming for you next." Allison realized the power had shifted. For years she was powerless, dismissed, ignored. But now she had proof. She spread the files across town, uploaded them online, handed them to reporters. And Havenbrook began to whisper, "Is Richard alive? Is the chief protecting him? Who else is lying?" The walls that protected Richard began to crack, and he knew exactly who was behind it. One stormy night, Allison returned home. Her door was open. Inside, Richard sat at her kitchen table, calm, smirking. "As stubborn as ever," he said. "You should have stayed quiet." Her hands trembled, but not with fear, because in her pocket was a recorder, and every word he spoke was being uploaded in real time. When he leaned closer, threatening her again, she whispered, "They already know. And this time, you won't bury me." The next morning, the recording spread like wildfire. The police chief suspended. The mayor humiliated. Richard exposed. For the first time, Havenbrook believed Allison Rayburn, the girl they mocked, the survivor they ignored. Justice, finally hers. Or so it seemed. Because that very night, a new message appeared on her windshield, written in blood-red paint. "You think you've won, but I'm not the only one." Attached to it, a list of names. All women, all missing, all presumed dead. And at the bottom, one final line: "They work for me now." As Allison stared at the list, her phone buzzed. A blocked number. She answered, and a woman's voice whispered, "Help me. He's not lying." The list of missing women wouldn't leave Allison's mind. Each name burned into her memory. Women Havenbrook had forgotten. Women Richard claimed were his, now working for him. And the phone call. The whisper from a woman everyone believed was dead. It wasn't a prank. It was a warning. Allison knew one thing. The nightmare wasn't over. It had only just begun. She took the list straight to the police. They dismissed her. Again. No evidence. No case. No missing persons reports. The same words she'd heard her whole life. But this time was different. Because Allison had proof Richard was alive. She had already exposed the chief. And she wasn't about to stop now. So she hunted alone. She started with the first name. Maria Torres. Disappeared in 2016 after walking home from work. Her case was never investigated. Allison tracked Maria's last known address. The apartment had been cleared out. The landlord claimed Maria moved suddenly. But neighbors told a different story. One said she heard screaming the night Maria vanished. Another said the police came, then ordered everyone to keep quiet. It was a cover-up. And Maria wasn't the only one. Every name on that list pointed to the same thing. The same abandoned warehouses. The same shell companies. The same trail of blood money Richard had been moving in secret. And the more Allison uncovered, the more she realized. This wasn't just one man. It was a network. A web of powerful men using women as pawns and hiding their crimes in plain sight. Richard wasn't the monster. He was the mask. But Allison's digging hadn't gone unnoticed. One night, she returned to her car. The driver's side window shattered. Inside on the seat, a Polaroid photo. Her. Taken that very night. And scrawled across the bottom in thick red marker. Stop digging or you'll join the list. Allison's hands shook as she stared at the photo. But deep inside, fear turned into fire. They had silenced her once. They had mocked her for years. They had buried their victims in darkness. But now, she had nothing left to lose. So she made a choice. If the system wouldn't protect her, if no one in Havenbrook could be trusted, she would find the missing women herself, even if it killed her. Her search led her to the outskirts of town. An abandoned factory shuttered for decades. Locals whispered it was haunted. But the truth was far worse. Security cameras surrounded the property. Fresh tire tracks cut through the mud. And inside, Allison found something that stopped her breath. A single shoe, covered in dust. The exact same brand worn by Maria Torres. And then, footsteps. Behind her, Allison. A voice she recognized instantly. But it wasn't Richard. It was the voice from the phone. One of the missing women. Dirty, bruised, terrified, but alive. She whispered, "You shouldn't have come here. They're watching you." Before Allison could ask another word, headlights blazed through the broken windows. Engines roared outside. Doors slammed. Men shouting. The woman grabbed Allison's hand. "Run." They bolted through the factory. The sound of boots behind them. The crack of gunfire. Allison's heart pounded. Every step she thought it was her last. They burst out into the night. Across the field. Into the woods. And then, silence. When Allison turned, the woman was gone. No trace. As if she had vanished into the dark. Allison stood alone. Breathless. Shaking. And in the distance, a voice echoed through the trees. Richard's voice. "You can't save them, Allison. Because they don't want to be saved." The nightmare wasn't just back. It was spreading. And Allison was no longer the hunter. She was the prey. Kindly consider subscribing to the channel for more true crime stories just like this one.